Is it important that a chair is symmetrical? Aiden, what do you think?
Because it's symmetrical because so people can sit at tables when they eat.
But how does a chair being symmetrical help us sit at tables?
Because if it was just flat, you have to sit on the ground.
Okay, but even if it was flat, we took a piece of flat paper, right?
Yeah.
We folded it in half, right?
Yeah.
Were the sides the same?
Yeah.
So was it symmetrical?
Yeah.
So does the fact that it's symmetrical help us when we sit at a table to eat?
Yes.
How?
No.
If I had a flat chair, like if I was sitting on the carpet here, is our carpet symmetrical?
No. If you fold it in two sides, it is.
So is it symmetrical?
Yeah.
Okay, so sitting in a carpet, it's symmetrical, not a problem. Sitting on a chair, why does it matter that it is symmetrical? Shh. Sarah?
Yes, because if it's not symmetrical, how are you gonna sit on it? Because you are bigger, and then if the chair's only half, you're not gonna be big. The chair's not gonna be big enough for you to sit on.
Okay, but hold on a second. Here's the piece with symmetrical. When you cut it down the middle, what's the same? What's true about both sides, I should say? When you cut it down straight down the middle here, what's going to be true?
That it's gonna look the same.
Right. So let's say we had a chair. That if I cut it down the middle, that instead of it looking the same on both sides, one part of the chair, the legs were down here. The other part of the chair, the legs were up here. It's cut down the middle. Is it symmetrical? No. Does it matter? Would I be able to use that chair if one of the pieces of the legs were down here and one were up here?
No.
Why not?
Because it would hurt you.
What do you mean?
Sit on it.
What would happen?
It would hurt yourself.
Because what would I do probably?
Because the chair like this might fall and you'll hit your head on the floor. And that hurts.
So, if the chair is symmetrical, so if I were to cut it down the middle, it's fine. We're the same, that's fine. If it were symmetrical, so if I were to cut it down the middle and look the same on both sides, if that were true, then what would be true about, sorry, let me go back to my question. Then is it important that a chair is symmetrical? Is that important?
Yes, because how are you gonna sit on it? Because if a chair if you were asymmetrical and the chair if this chair was not asymmetrical, the chair was right here, and then the legs would be the same as the bottom piece. The legs would be right here.
Yes.
Every four leg would be on the ground. And this,
Yeah.
if you cut in half when it's not symmetrical,
Yeah.
it would just fall over because small things and another small thing fall.
Okay, so, but when things are symmetrical, they can be cut in half to look the same. But we don't actually have to cut the chair in half.
Yeah.
What it just means is that if we were to pretend to cut it in half, it would look the same on both sides.
Yeah.
So does it matter that it looks the same on both sides?
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't look the same on both sides, what's going to happen?
They won't. If you took off these balls, this ball,
Yeah.
this ball,
Yeah.
it would go like this one would be shorter and
Yeah.
those one be the same. And if we did that, it would be wobbly.
Okay.
So take off one ball and leave the other three. It'll be and you'll wobble and hit your head
Now you're thinking.
It won't wobble because if you take it off, you won't wobble because it's just short because if you take it off and if you take this one off,
Yes.
it will wobble, but if you take this one off, it won't wobble because see this one is longer than this one.
Okay. Let's see.
It's gonna fall. No, it's not because it still has this leg.
It doesn't fall, but what do you notice about it?
It wobbles.
It wobbles. So does it matter that it's symmetrical then?
Yes.
Yes, because what's going to happen to the poor person that tries to sit on you?
But Miss Dunsinger, if you put one of these white things, it will.
Okay, but what would probably
It will
happen?
hurt yourself.
Right. So then think for a minute.
Hurt yourself.
Okay, look at a table. Turn and look at a table. Oh. And now this is wobbly. I don't know. Gotta fix that chair. Okay. Oh, it's always been wobbly. Excellent. Turn and look at this table for a second. Shh.
Go to the bathroom.
If I were to cut this table in half, let's look at this table. If I were to cut it in half, would it matter if the table was symmetrical? What do you think? Doesn't matter. So this table happens to be. Does it matter that it's symmetrical?
No. Yes, because if you cut it in half, it might tip over because it doesn't have the two legs. If you forget a leg, it might tip over. But what if you put another two legs? If you cut it in half and put another two legs on both sides.
Okay, but hold on. Here's the thing. I'm not really cutting the table in half. This.
You should do that in school.
When we're talking about symmetry, we don't have to cut everything in half. But if we were to look at this table, if I were to draw an imaginary line down the middle of the table, one side would be the same as the? Okay, but what if I drew an imaginary line down the middle, but one side was not the same as the other side? So I drew the line. But the two sides did not look the same. Then what? Would that matter? Would it matter if one side was up here and one side was down low? Or if one side was circle and the other side was a rectangle? Would it matter?
No, because at least if it's still a table, it's okay if it's still a table though.
Okay.
If it's just still a table, it's fine if it's still a table.
But what if?
Some people buy rectangles and circled ones.
Okay, but hold on. So that's one. Would it matter if the legs were different though? Would it matter if one leg was short and the other leg was long?
No. Yes, because if that one table, half of the legs on one side had short legs, on the other side had long, it would just tip over and everything on the table would break, and you would have to clean up the mess.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to throw out the table and get a new one.
Okay. So then I guess that's a. Yes.
Even if you attend to cut off, if you cut off this a leg like this,
Yes.
and you cut off that one, when somebody's eating and they don't know the legs were cut off,
Yeah.
their when their sandwich or their apple will fall off the table, and then you have to wash it. And every time you sit on the table,
Yes.
it will fall off, and you have to wash it every time.
Right. Now, am I really cutting a table in half?
Because you don't get in trouble if you cut the table.
Right.
That would be against the law. will not let you have a job here.
Okay. And I'm really going to cut a chair in half.
No, because that's against the law too.
Right.
And you would not. They would get another teacher instead of you.
Right. And we don't want that to happen.
Put you out.
Right. And we don't want that to happen, right?
And
But-
if you try it with the chainsaw, you might cut yourself.
Right.
Really, like on your hands a lot.
Right. But the truth is that when we cut things in half, we pretend. So in this case, I'm not really cutting tables and chairs or shelves in half, but I want you to start to think, what would happen if I pretended to draw a line down the center? Is it symmetrical? So do both sides look the same?
Yeah.
And if they don't look the same, does that matter?
No.
Well, it depends.
If you don't have to make it look the same, because tables you don't need to look the same as long as you still have one.
Okay, but does it matter for looking the same? Look at the length of the legs. Does it matter that the length of the legs are the same?
Yeah, because it might go a little bit down, and then people might say, "Why is it going down?"
Right, but does it matter if the shape of the table, if it looks the same on both sides?
Yeah.
Does it matter if that part's circular and this part's square?
No.
No, because it's not going to change the eating necessarily, but it would certainly cause a big problem if the legs were not the same length. So, right, so sometimes symmetry matters, and sometimes it